Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Weekly Waypoint. Can you believe I'm still doing these? Today we are playing on a private Minecraft server for a Twitch streaming community, which I'm not necessarily, I spoke about it last week, fuck it. It's Boba's community, but I've turned the chat off. I've disabled the chat so that people can have their privacy. Just know that all of these lovely things were not built by me. I do not have even a smidgen of a talent that the people on this server possess. Which is actually a little frustrating because I consider myself quite a creative person, but when it comes to creating buildings in Minecraft, at least in survival Minecraft, I've never had the patience to do too much beyond a little bit of accentation on the typical cube house. No, but this server is where I've been spending a decent amount of time, although you are pretty much seeing everything I've done so far. There's a house that you'll see later as well. But it's been wonderful. It's a neat little reminder that, hey, Minecraft is as fun as the people you play it with, and I had a lot of fun playing this with Reese and some other friends a while ago, and I've tried recapturing that in single player since, and I can't. Although, you know what else enhances Minecraft like nothing else? A minimap. My Minecraft client is only modded to include a minimap and nothing else, and it has made my gameplay so much more as someone who gets, I don't know if anxious is too strong a word, but someone who gets concerned about getting lost in Minecraft, and so they never really veer too far from their home base. It's really nice to just have the option to always know where stuff is and how to get back to it. It really opens up the game for me. Plus, on an established server, it's helpful to remember where people's houses are and things like that. By the way, while we're still talking about Minecraft, I do make a discovery towards the back end of this video, which is a type of content in this game that I've never actually seen before and didn't know was a thing. And I don't explore it too much, because we only had limited time, but I will be going back there after I finish making this video, because I've heard that there are these things called shriekers, and I think I discovered them. So I'm very interested to find out more about that. But yeah, what have I done this week? Well, I'm going to spend a lot of time talking about Ubisoft in just a minute, but I figure I might as well open with the games I've been playing first, what I've been watching, what I've been doing. You know, I came out as bi to everyone. Oh, I haven't done that here. Oh, okay, this is the last place where I haven't done that. I'm probably going to do a video in the future, like a real talk, talking more about it, but that's a thing. Hi. It's not the focus of this video, though, which is why you didn't see anything about it in the title or whatever. No, I have been playing Minecraft, as you can see here, but I've also been continuing to play for Assassin's Creed. I'm up to Revelations, and I'm starting to slow down on Revelations. I think the mission design in that game is a little tougher than in the previous games, and that might be where some of my issues with Revelations comes from, but I really want to power through it and get into Assassin's Creed 3 and start playing through the games I haven't played in that series. I've also been continuing to dip in and out of Diablo 4. I'm not exactly rushing to 100, I've just hit level 60, but I'm having a fun time. I saw on a developer livestream they were talking about they're gonna buff the XP rates in Nightmare Dungeons and make them, you can teleport to them so they're easier to chain back to back, which was the original design intention. As it is, they don't feel very lucrative XP wise, but I think we're going to have to wait until season 1 for them to be... There's a serious XP slog problem with Diablo 4 in my opinion, and that would only scratch the surface to fixing it. But hey, these games only ever... Well, I say only ever improve, that's a bit optimistic, but if we're going by Diablo standards, it's probably gonna improve as time goes on, and it's already a 9 out of 10, so I mean, I can't really whinge, can I? I also saw that there was a sale and purchased for myself the Batman Arkham trilogy, because I've only ever played a little bit of Batman Arkham Asylum many years ago. I couldn't quite remember what issues I had with that game, but it's Batman, I love Batman, so I bought the collection for a tenner, and I've played a little bit of Batman Arkham Asylum. There's definitely going to be a video coming out, I don't know how long it will be, but if this isn't foreshadowing enough, I have rediscovered the issues I had with that game, because people love these games. These aren't inherent issues with the game. Also, I just totally fucking died. That was your respect for me dying because I just shat on Batman Arkham Asylum. No, I mean, the game's, first of all, the game's aged a bit, in visuals and in writing style, and, you know, it's not, back in the day, I'm sure it was groundbreaking, but looking back at it now, it's yeah, okay. It's like when you go play Star Wars The Force Unleashed, and you're the narrative, this is kind of before we really put a lot of resources into game writing. It's not bad, it's just, I don't know how to explain it, it's just aged. But that's not the main problem. Main problem is I don't necessarily love how Batman controls. He feels very stiff, much like the way he's portrayed in that game, actually. He feels very stiff, and there's lots of little, game-specific idiosyncrasies to learn, like detective mode and stuff, and sometimes it's not entirely clear what you're supposed to be doing, and sometimes it can be frustrating navigating the world and trying to stay alive when there's people with guns, and I don't know, here's the thing, right? So I had a bit of buyer's regret, so I actually requested a refund of this game. I don't do it very often, and I know it's probably not the most ethical thing to do, but I'm sure Rocksteady will be fine if I do a little refund. But it actually got declined. I'm like, fair. But I've never had a refund get declined before, because I was going to get Watch Dogs Legion instead. But I could still do that, and I might still do that, but I wouldn't be able to justify it as easily now. But yeah, I don't know, some games just don't click with you no matter how popular and critically acclaimed they are, and I guess Batman Arkham Asylum may be one of those games. What I want to know from fans of the series who may be about to write a comment, is Arkham City better in terms of gameplay? Because I looked it up, they both have a very similar Metacritic score, but would you say Batman Arkham City is easier for a new player to pick up and start? Is it like one of those cases where it's like Assassin's Creed 1 to Assassin's Creed 2, where the controls are just more refined and, as a result it has a larger player base in general? Because I don't hear people talking about Arkham Asylum that much. Oh, also here's the structure I discovered. Whenever I hear people talk about that series, it's always Arkham City and I guess Arkham Origins and Knight. I know Origins was a different developer, but still, yeah, I don't know, because I have City and Knight, so maybe I'll give them a try. I don't know how important the narrative is. I know a giant spoiler at the end of City, I think, but it's comics, so I don't put too much stock in what happens. It's more about how it happens. Okay, should we talk about a Ubisoft thing? Who's ready for some fresh hot piping Ubisoft Forward takes? I saw someone say that it was really weak. I have the opposite opinion. I think this year's Ubisoft Forward was the strongest Ubisoft Forward they've ever done. And I'm a massive Assassin's Creed fan, so, big Star Wars fan as well, so is anyone surprised? They opened with this Avatar game, which I was watching, and I was very much like, oh, I don't care about this one. And then I continued watching it, I was like, oh, maybe I care about this one. And then I continued watching it and went, oh, I don't care about this. And then I continued watching and went, maybe I do care about this. And I think the thing is, the game looks good, but I don't really care about the Avatar IP. And I think it might be a decent game wrapped up in an Avatar IP. I'm not sure. But it's been years since I watched Avatar, and I've not watched the new film yet. But there's just nothing exciting to me about Avatar, which, it's a decent message they're trying to tell in the movies. I just don't find it gripping. I think the reason it was, it's not like the most original tale ever told, right? I think the reason it was, so critically acclaimed when it came out was because of how it looked, most of all. But yeah, I don't know, maybe I'll pick that up on a sale in 5 years. But obviously the meat of the Forward was Assassin's Creed Mirage and Star Wars Outlaws. Also, the new Prince of Persia game looks really good. I've never played a Prince of Persia game, and I probably should, because I know that's where Assassin's Creed comes from, where its DNA comes from. Prince of Persia is like Assassin's Creed's dad. There was a guess the game prompt, and I was looking at it, I was like, I can't get Assassin's Creed out of my head, but I know Assassin's Creed does not have this environment. And then we realized it was Prince of Persia Sands of Time, and I was like, that explains everything. It's just the kind of DNA you can see when you look at a game. Anyway, Prince of Persia 2D game seems like it'll be kind of its own thing, but it also might be my first Prince of Persia game because it looks really damn good. Assassin's Creed Mirage looks like a proper, I've said this before, it looks like a spiritual remake of the original, right? Like, obviously different character, different place, same canon, so it's not like an actual remake by any means, but in terms of like how the gameplay is being approached, it definitely, well, maybe not that, I don't know how to put my finger on it, but the general vibe, the general aesthetic, the general aura, maybe it's literally just because we're in the Middle East again, but it very much reminds me of the original Assassin's Creed, which took place in the Middle East, right? I know geography. It's in Syria, which is a Middle Eastern country. Right? Oh god, there are some areas of the world I know a lot about, and there are some areas of the world I should learn more about, and this is one of those areas. Anyway, we're getting off the beaten path here. It gives me Assassin's Creed 1 vibes, except obviously with modern gameplay. The one thing that I'm sure people are fighting about is it seems like, oh my god, what's the guy's name? Basim? It seems like Basim has some kind of like teleportation ability, and that like yanks you back into the reality that this is a modern Assassin's Creed game, and I don't know if it belongs in the traditional action-adventure style Assassin's Creed games, but it does look like a fun ability, so we'll have to see how this pans out. I had no idea what was happening here. I've never been here in a Minecraft game. I think these are Shriekers? The other main game I want to talk about is... Oh, and as far as Assassin's Creed Mirage goes, I'm not actually sure I'll buy it when it comes out. It's going to be very expensive. I'm probably going to hold off and hope for a sale by the time I get around to it and continue plowing through... Why did I say plowing? And continue playing the older Assassin's Creed titles. Or just fall off the Assassin's Creed wagon completely for another 12 months. That'll happen. Star Wars Outlaws is my kind of Star Wars game, I think. I don't know how to describe it. Someone said it's like a Grand Theft Auto Star Wars game, but I don't know if that's entirely true. But it's an open world, objective-based adventure Star Wars game, and this, if we're talking modern Star Wars game, I'm way more likely to be into this than I am to be into oh my god, the EA one, Jedi Fallen Order, and those ones, because I'm still trying to play through those, but they're just objectively not my preferred kind of game. I don't like the purposeful animation cancel-y world of a Souls-like game, even when it's made easy for me. I don't know, like, it's to the point where on a lower difficulty I find it enjoyable, and I do like the more Metroidvania aspects of that genre of game as well, but it's never grabbed me enough to keep me, and I think Star Wars Outlaws is more likely to grab me enough to keep me, as long as it turns out good. There are certain games where I can point to and say that's going to be a good game, and a lot of the time, just because I spend so much time playing video games and looking at video game news, I feel like I've got a good sense for that kind of thing. I was saying that about Diablo for a long time before it came out. Not a long time, but like after we saw enough gameplay, and I'm saying that about Starfield, so hopefully I don't end up eating my words on that one. But I feel like I can't say that about Star Wars Outlaws yet. We saw the gameplay, and it does look good, but I'm just not confident enough in terms of like the actual moment to moment of what's going on, what you're like. They say some stuff about you've got reputations, and I have some concerns about like if you make a certain choice that chases you off planet. Okay, my PC just tapped me out of Vegas. That was weird. Like, they showed off a quest where you hand it in and you make a choice which means that the Imperials are coming after you and it drives you off planet. Like, that feels like a choice you make which very much forces you in a particular direction. I'm not sure if there's too many of those how that's going to feel. But I mean, I'm cautiously optimistic about Star Wars Outlaws. I was worried when Ubisoft were going to take it on that it was just going to be like a copy-paste of Watch Dogs, but in a Star Wars flavour, but it seems to be something pretty unique. In fact, I should have considered a Division. I should have looked up the fact that Massive were making this. And you can see some Division DNA in there, for sure, but it's a unique thing. Thank you, Mr. Car with a rattly exhaust. And did you see that Just Dance? No. Every time Ubisoft Forward opens with Just Dance, I go, oh yeah. Dance, you glorious bastards. Anyway, I really enjoyed the Ubisoft thing. I don't think EA are doing a EA play. What do they call their EA conference? I don't even remember, but I haven't heard anything about it, and to be honest, I don't think I miss it. That's a horrible thing to say. There are developers who work very hard on EA titles, but I'm just not that interested in a lot of what EA are putting out these days. There were some other things too. There was the Xbox Games Showcase Extended, which I'm always pleased to see, but I was working when that aired live, so I ended up kind of skipping through the bits I didn't like, so it didn't give me that same kind of feeling of watching through a thing. And there wasn't really much in there to talk about, but they showed off more of what we had, and the indie games which they surprised us with that are coming to Game Pass look pretty neat too. Don't remember any of them, but I'm sure I'll remember them when I see them. Anyway, that's the video. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next week.